When I was young, I knew the story about as well as every other Christian, any other Christian. I had heard about it. David wanted to bring the Ark of the Covenant to Jerusalem so that the people could worship God. After, probably about 40 years or more, since before Saul was king, when the Ark was taken by the Philistines and they eventually sent it back because it was destroying them. So David was bringing the Ark and he got this very, he got the oxen, he got the carts, brand new carts, I think, wonderful oxen, and they were moving the carts, and the ark stumbled, and the oxen stumbled, the cart stumbled, and the ark was about to fall, and Uzzah stretched out his hand and touched the ark, and God struck him dead. Now, I was just as puzzled when I was younger about why God would do that. Why did God strike the man dead? I mean, and could it be because David did not worship God enough? David put the ark away in the home of Obed-Edom, and for 3 months, Obed-Edom was blessed. And David was like, nah, I gotta bring this ark to me. Then he did it again, and this time around he worshipped God and danced and sung and was naked and all of the above, and eventually got the ark to Jerusalem. So, but what was different about the last time and the first time? In the first instance, you realize this story is told twice in the Bible. There are two accounts. One is in 2 Samuel chapter 6. The second instance is recorded in 1 Chronicles. Starts in chapter 13 and concludes in chapter 15. In the 2 Samuel account, we don't get that much detail. Basically, the incident happened, and this time around, David did it with a lot of singing and dancing. But a few years ago, I was reading a book by Billy Akoni, and I don't even remember the title of the book. And it brought my attention, honestly speaking, to the second account, which was written in 1 Chronicles chapter 13 and chapter 15. And we find in the second chapter, in chapter 15, it actually gives us the detail of what happened, of what went wrong. What went wrong was that the Ark of the Covenant was intended and instructed to Moses that it should be carried on the shoulders of the Levites. I believe perhaps the sons of Korah, or you'll see it on the page. You see, the ark would never have stumbled if it had been carried on the shoulders of the Levites. And so, even though Uzzah thought he was doing God a favor by reaching out to touch the ark, he was actually dishonoring God, and God was angry, and God struck him dead. You want to ask yourself that critical question: what are you doing in your life right now that you think God should be happy about it? At least I'm singing praises. At least this is the big one. At least I'm giving to charity. Oh, all of us now feel like we're doing God a favor by giving to charity. That's not the point. Are you doing it the way God instructed? Are you doing what God designed? There's a story in my mind. I'll probably save it until the end of this video. In the second instance, the story of King Uzziah, the other Uzzie, who was a good king. He reigned actually quite long. I don't remember how many years, 30 years maybe, or 50, I don't remember. And Bible records that he was marvelously helped by God. Yet he did something. He, at one point, after he had become successful and victorious, and the fear of him was in the heart of all the people, all the kingdoms around him, he was doing very well. He decided he wanted to go into the temple to to burn incense unto God, or make a sacrifice or whatever. And as he was going, the priests tried to stop him, like, dude, you're the king. Go and be the king. That's what God called you to do. Nobody expects you to come and burn incense. That is our job. Let us do our job. The guy would not listen. So as soon as he got into the holy place, I don't even think he got as far as the Holy of Holies. Pride would have been consumed. And he tried to burn incense. The Bible says leprosy appeared on his forehead. And for the rest of his life, and he lived relatively long, 50-something years, I guess, for the rest of his life, he was a leper. Because he entered into a place that God did not anoint him for or invite him to. Listen, if you are a man, operate in your capacity as a man and leave the office of the woman to the woman. And if you are a woman, operate in your capacity as a woman and leave the office of the men to the men. And if there is no man, you will receive grace if you are his wife to operate in his office until he returns. And if there is no woman, you will receive grace to operate in that capacity as a man, despite the fact that you are a woman, until the man returns, or vice versa. And if you are a man and your wife is unavailable, you will have the grace to function in the capacity in which she is operating until she returns. Besides that, be who you are called to be. Do what you are called to do. Don't try to usurp a position that was not given to you. If David had done it the right way the first time, even though, in fact, the mistake would not have happened, and that's why the Bible is very critical. If the foundation be destroyed, what can the righteous do? If the foundation be destroyed, the righteous can pray, but there are times when you will pray and God will not answer because God is upset with you because you are doing it the wrong way. The story that comes to mind, I can't remember it again. Basically, you need to be sure that you are where God asked you to be. You need to be sure that you are doing what God asked you to do, the way that God asked you to do it. You will recall that God gave a very specific instruction in 1 Samuel chapter 8. When the people came to Samuel and told him, we want a king to be like the nations that are around us. And the thing grieved Samuel, and Samuel took it to God. I was like, God said, tell them what's going to happen to them because of the king that they have chosen. You see, God had always already intended for them to have a king. When Jacob made the prophecy about Judah, this is Genesis chapter 49 or so, God told them that Judah is the king. Well, they wanted the king, and they were not waiting for the king that God was preparing for them. So God said, well, the king that you are choosing for yourself will make a slave out of you. You will make your daughters as bakers, etc. You will take your lands and use it for himself. Listen, that choice you make outside of God is going to enslave you. And here's the threatening and scary and frightening line in that chapter. It says, and you shall call unto me in that day, because of the king that you have chosen for yourself, and I will not hear you. There are times you will say some prayers and God will ignore you because you have made a choice that does not honor and glorify him, because you are trying to do his will in a manner that is not the way he has designed for you to do it or called you to. Listen, as God's own people, in this world that we are living in, we can see the world falling apart. Some of us are God's own people, but we are doing things that do not honor and glorify God. And we are expecting that God will continue to answer our prayers. God is not mocked. Whatsoever a man sows, that shall he reap. You want to start correcting yourself right now. You want to start checking where you have gone wrong and asking the Lord to lead you in the path of righteousness for his name's sake. You want to start speaking out for what is right and what is true. Not self-aggrandizement or feeling like you are doing the world a favor when you are only pleasing yourself. Get it right. If you're a child of God, stand for what is true, stand for what is right, do what is true, do what is right. Let God be glorified in every word and every thought that pertains to your life. Otherwise, well, thank you for watching. Click on like, click on subscribe, leave a comment, ask a question, support, improve, encourage, insult, whatever it is that you are led to do. God will glorify himself. Most importantly, share this video. There are others who may need to hear this word. Thank you for watching. God bless you. Have a wonderful day.